Hello, friends. Thank you for taking your valuable time and your interest in this topic. In this video, I'm going to share with you about the different types of question included in any questionnaires used in any research study. I believe most of you might already know about questionnaires, but allow me to start first. In short, what is a questionnaire? A questionnaire is technically a research instrument used by any researcher as a tool to collect data or gather information from any source or subject of his or her interest. And to put it in an analogy, questionnaire is like a bucket that is used to collect water from the pond or a well. Questionnaire actually consists of a number or a series of questions. These questions are asked by a researcher in a written form in order to extract required information or data from the source or subject having the information. And the source or the subject which have the information and who will be answering the question asked is called the respondent. Questionnaire is one of the most widely used measuring tools for data collection in any research study. Just to get you an idea for those who don't know what a questionnaire is, this is how a questionnaire will look like. This is just a sample. Okay, so it differs from one study to the other. So these are just the samples. So I reiterate, questionnaires are made up of a number or a series of questions whose purpose is to extract information from the source. However, in general, we might not be aware, but in fact, there are different types of questions included in a questionnaire can be of the following types. It can be a dichotomous type or an alternative response type, or the questions can be a multiple choice type. A question can be a multiple response type. The questions can be a ranking type, or it can be a rating type, or it can be an open-ended type. Normally, we only know that these first five are commonly known as the closed-ended type of questionnaires. Okay. Therefore, these are the different questions types we incorporated in our questionnaires when we designed them for our study purposes. I am sure you all already understand most of them by the name itself, but still I will use simple, common, general example just to give you an idea about what type of question types that falls under a questionnaire are. First, let's see what is a dichotomous or alternative response type of questions in a questionnaire. When you have only two options for every question that you ask, then it is referred to as a dichotomous or an alternative response type of question. For example, if I ask you, what is your marital status? Are you married or unmarried? So your answer will be one of these. Similarly, are you working? Your answer will be either employed or unemployed. What's your educational status? Are you literate or illiterate? So answer will be one of these. Do you smoke? It will be a yes or a no. So, for example, these are your answers. So this is a dichotomous type of question in a questionnaire. Next, what is the multiple choice type of questions? I think this is very easy to understand. If I ask John, what's your educational level or status? And what's your monthly income? And I have the list of these choice options here. And let's say the answers are he is a postgraduate student and his monthly annual income is 15,000 to 30,000. So, of all the choices that are there, options that are there, one is the right answer for the question. So, when you come across such kind of a question in a questionnaire, then it's a multiple choice type of questions. Next, what's the multiple response type of questions? For example, in a questionnaire, you ask, if I give an example, which are all the following cities that you have visited in India? And I have listed five different cities. And similarly, another question is if I ask what are the different sources of household fuel that you use? So if your answer is maybe the cities that you visited are Calcutta, Chennai, and Shillong. So all three are the answer that you pick. Similarly, for the source of household fuel, so you may be using charcoal at home, and also LPG. So these are the answer to your questions. So you have a multiple response answer to this question. So such kind of questions are referred to as a multiple response type of questions in questionnaires. Next is a ranking type of questions. Okay. For example, if I ask you, if I give a list of these 5 different countries and I ask you rank these countries in terms of the most peaceful and the most disturbed countries, rank them with 1 as the most peaceful country and up to 5 with the worst disturbed country. So you have ranked them that. So you might rank them in this order. So this kind of questions in a questionnaire will fall under the ranking type of questions. Next is rating type of question. Let's say they have 2 questions. How was John test performance during the last semester? Or the next question, what is the pH of water? Okay. And if I say the test performance of John is very good in the last semester and the water pH is moderate acidic. So this is how I rate them. I have the different classes are there. Okay, there are different categories in which I can rate them. The most suitable answer to the question is, say for John test performance very good with this. Let's say the pH of water will be moderately acidic. Okay. Next and the last type of question is called open-ended questions, where a question will be asked and the respondents will be given the liberty to answer the question in his or her own words or understanding. Okay, where no options will be provided to the question asked. All right, so these are just an example here that I gave you. Okay, mostly when you ask an open-ended type of questions, you give a question and you give a blank space. The answer will be filled by the respondent himself or herself. So before I end, I would like to put forward these following few points. A researcher must remember these few points during the process of setting or designing the questionnaires. Okay. When you set your questionnaire or design a questionnaire before you dispatch it into the field, remember to always provide a clear-cut instruction and information at the beginning of the questionnaires. Okay. What is the purpose of the questionnaire? How should they answer the questionnaire? Either in tick mark, circle, or all those information should be provided at the beginning of the questionnaires. And questions should be direct and should not beat around the bush when you ask any questions. Question should be in line with the research objective. Let's say if your research is something about online classes, but you ask questions something related of offline class, then it will not be relevant. Should be in line with the research objective. Okay. Use a simple and understandable language or words, because the respondents might find if you use hi-fi or maybe hard to understand language or words, then the respondents will not be able to answer your questions. So therefore, use simple English language or words. Avoid using or asking technical terms. Okay, because sometimes, as I said, the respondent may be a common man. And always use a mixed type of question, where all type of question, right from the dichotomous type of questions to the multiple choice type questions to the multiple response type questions, rating and the ranking type questions, and open-ended questions should be in your questionnaire. It should not be only one type or 2 types of questions. Okay. Avoid using abbreviation in questions, because as I said, if I give abbreviation, the respondents will not be able to understand what is it. Okay, so it'll be tough for him or her to understand. So you'll not be getting the information that you desire. Avoid repetition of question also. Sometimes you answer one question, number 1 and number 5, again the same questions you ask, but in a different way. So you should avoid repetition of questions. Cross-check for grammatical or typing error before you finalize the questionnaire and take it to the field. You should cross-check for this. Okay. Number of questions should be limited. It should not be like 50, 60 pages. Questions should be there. Then it'll be very hard to find respondents who will be answering all your questions. You'll not be able to collect your information. Should it be restricted to certain pages? Divide the question into different sections. You should not mix up the questions. So say something related to online section should be separate, offline questions should be separate. Okay. Ensure confidentiality, that whatever information that you use is just for the academic purposes. Okay. And always thank the respondents at the end of the questionnaire for taking their time to answer your questions. Okay, so these are the few points you need to remember when you design your questionnaire. With this, I hope this video will clarify students and researchers about the question types that made up the questionnaires. And also, I hope students or the researcher will know about them right before the researcher start designing his or her questionnaires. This is the reference used for this presentation. So with this, thank you so much for your attention and thank you so much for watching this video, and God bless.